Hi, welcome. My name is Cathy Neptune and welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to share tips, tools, and recipes to make your time in the kitchen fun, fast, and fabulous. And I'm doing a little different take. I want to thank you all for your comments and your ideas and your questions. And I have an email here from Lynn in Bolton. And Lynn writes, "Hi Cathy, I really enjoy watching and learning new recipes and tips from your show. You make it look so easy." Thank you, Lynn. I have a request. My husband and I are not traveling this year for the holidays, and I was wondering if you have an easy, smaller version of a holiday meal for just the two of us. Thank you again, and may the fork be with you. Well, thank you, Lynn. That's a great question to do. So, in honor of your question, we're going to do a downsized Thanksgiving turkey meal, and I hope you try this. It's a different take, a few different tastes, but the same basic menu that I'm sure you'll find recognizable. So we're going to start out here with some veggies, and I've cut up some carrots and some fresh parsnips that are raw, and you can see kind of cut them the same size in big, I think, diagonal chunks. Let's make it look fancy. And I put them in a plastic bag, and I'm going to slice up some red onions because I love the color, but you could certainly use a white onion if you'd like. And I used a whole bag of carrots and a whole bag of parsnips. So whatever you have on hand, there's no measurements if you have a larger crowd. Just double the recipe. So I'm going to put these in the bag. And we're doing that because we're going to add some flavorings to this. And I'm going to grab some olive oil and just enough to coat. We're going to cook them on our bar pan here. And I've put a little bit of butter, softened butter, on the bottom of the pan just for flavor. So that's probably a tablespoon of olive oil, a good pinch or two of salt, and then for flavor and just a tad of sweetness, some wonderful real maple syrup. And I like the real maple syrup, so we're going to add probably a tablespoon of maple syrup into that. I'm going to put this, close the bag up and kind of toss it around. And I have my oven preheating at 375 degrees. So you really want to roast these and mix these up really well. And this is certainly something you can do ahead of time. It's always good when you're cooking to do as much as you can overnight, leave it in the refrigerator. But I wouldn't put the seasonings or the flavoring or the onions in until just before you cook it, because the salt is going to draw out a lot of moisture in your veggies, and you don't want to make them dry. So that's about good enough. You toss them around for exactly 42 seconds. And then, oh, hi Karen, we have a guest tonight. This is my good friend Karen, and she's my partner in crime. We have had a lot of adventures over the year, Karen, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you like to cook as well, right?
I do, yes, I do.
What are you doing Thanksgiving this year, or are you going out, Karen?
I've been invited somewhere. So.
Good. Are you going to bring a signature dish, or have you thought of that yet?
I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
Probably a pie.
Ooh, good one. So I'm kind of making it an even layer. And our oven, as I said, is all preheated. And we're going to pop this into the oven and get that started. And excuse me, it'll probably roast for about 40 minutes while we do our turkey. So let me show you. I'm going to grab my turkey over here. And this is a whole new take on turkey breast. What I've done is I've taken a whole turkey breast that comes like this, and I've cut it down the middle, but not all the way to the end. So you can see it's like a boat, like a little canoe. And I've marinated this turkey breast because it doesn't have any skin in it, and if you didn't marinate it, it would be very, very dry because there's no skin on it. So I marinated this in some lemon juice, soy salt, a little bit of garlic, and believe it or not, cloves, fresh basil, and a little bit of olive oil. And that's why it's a darker color, I think, because of the soy sauce.
and it's going to make it very, very moist. You can do any flavoring that you'd like of marinade. For example, you could do a yogurt marinade with some garlic and spices. Excuse me, but I like this. I think this will go very well. And this is just a store-bought stuffing. Of course, you can make your own from scratch if you'd like. But why not make it easy for yourself? So I'm going to kind of semi-pack it, not too tightly. And then I think I'm going to put the dressing that's left over. If you have people that don't want crispy dressing, you can, of course, just leave it and reheat it like this. But let's use all the space that we have and do a little bit and roast around the edges so we can use up the whole box of dressing. I think that'd be good. And again, we're using this in the oven, baking at the same temperature as your veggies that are roasting. And how easy is that? Again, I would marinate the turkey breasts the night before or for just several hours. You really don't need it too saturated with the marinade. I did these for probably 2 to 3 hours, and I think they're perfectly fine because you want to be able to taste the turkey, and what you want to do is infuse some of the flavors and keep it moist as well. So I'm going to put this into the oven, and that should be done in about same time the veggies, maybe a little bit less, but I would check it after 30 minutes to see that the turkey is done because the turkey is very thin on the outside and the stuffing inside is already cooked, so you're ahead of the game. So I'm going to pop this in the oven and we'll be right back for our side dishes.
Welcome back. Karen has a question over here. Karen.
Yes, I was just wondering, when you were stuffing the turkey, could you maybe do this with other meats, like, say, sausage?
Ooh, good
Like,
idea.
you know, take sausage and make a ring and stuff it. Could you do that?
Yeah, I like the way you're thinking, Karen. That's a great question, and that's what you want to do with these recipes. To do these just as a starting point for other ingredients and what your family would like. I think sausage would be great, especially this time of year where it's Oktoberfest. You could do like a kielbasa sausage, and equally slice apples, tart apples like a Granny Smith, with some sweet potatoes or a butternut squash. Do a little glaze and put that in the middle, lay them in layers, and do a ring of sausage around it, much like we did the turkey breast, but you could use one whole sausage link on each side where they bow out like that, and roast your vegetables in the center. Very beautifully presented, healthy, easy, and everybody's doing these one tray meals on a sheet pan. So invest in your kitchen a nice quality, heavy duty sheet pan. And you'll use it over and over again, and everything would cook at the same temperature in the same time. So that's a great idea. You can also use, instead of the turkey breasts like we used, do the larger size chicken breasts, marinate them the same. I use 2 cloves of garlic in mine. You could, as I just quickly mentioned, do a buttermilk, garlic, green onion marinade. You can do the Italian, remember the Italian wings? You can marinate it in that sauce and do a chicken stuffing in the middle, or a regular pork loin and slice that, get a thicker center loin cut. Do the same technique and use a pre-made pork stuffing in the middle, and I would add some chopped apples to that, and I think that would be a great thing to do. So that's you got me thinking, Karen. That's a great way to start thinking and using what you have on hand and modifying it a little bit so it's something different. But that's great. I love those ideas. And then because we're roasting the turkey in the oven, maybe you thought, what are we going to do for gravy? Because you're going to have leftovers, maybe, at least for a turkey sandwich. And I'll give you a little tip. This is, don't tell anybody, this is a canned turkey gravy. But what makes this homemade, and Karen, you tasted this, right?
Yes, it's delicious.
Yep. All I did was add a grind of fresh black pepper, a little onion powder, and I think the secret here is celery salt. And it just gives it a great homemade flavor and masks that flavor that it's not homemade, but now it is technically because you added spices and made it your own. So do that, and again, you can do this the night before, have it on hand in a nice pitcher so you can just warm it up in the microwave, which is a great way to go. And oh, I can smell the turkey roasting, and it smells so good. And I want to show you one thing that I did in when you walk into a home this time of year. I'm going to grab something off my counter here and show you what I did, because I'm working with all these fall flavors in my kitchen. I just had to do this in my little crock pot. How cute is this? See this? It's lemon, because I used lemon in my marinade, and I had some orange citrus zest that I had zested. There's allspice. There's cinnamon sticks. You can certainly use powdered cinnamon if you have it. A few cloves. There's a little water in there that I preheated, and I put it in here. This is the most inviting. It smells like pumpkin pie. It smells like the holidays. And I just have this going on my counter, and you can keep adding water to it to refresh it. And just have it going all day long. It just smells so good. That's a great tip. And get yourself a little crock pot like this, because I use them this time of year for some hot queso dips, or if you're doing a fondue. They're just the perfect little size to have for entertaining. But this is another way to use what you have on hand, a small mini potpourri pot. So that really adds to the ambiance of the fall season. So give that a try. Those make nice hostess gifts as well. So we're going to work on some of our side dishes here. We have some cranberry sauce. And this, again, out of the can, but we're going to kind of bump it up a little bit. And I'm adding some of that orange zest from any orange that you have. And before you juice an orange, you always want to zest it too. So I'm going to add into our whole berry cranberry sauce the zest of one orange, which is about a teaspoon. And then I thought for a little more texture, my family does like the chunky whole berry cranberry sauce. A nice tart apple. This is a Rome apple. And we're just going to chunk it up. And you don't have to add any lemon juice to this, because the tartness of the cranberries will keep the apples from turning. And you just want to do little cubes like this so you don't get big chunks of anything in there. And depending on your family, you don't have to use the whole apple. Kind of see what amount you want in there. But I'm just scooping those in. And by the way, when you scoop things on your tray, always use the blunt side of your knife so that you don't dull your knife. So let's mix this in. And it's almost like a cranberry salad. Now, if you like, you can add walnuts to this to add another crunch and another dimension to it. But boy, it's taken something store-bought, taking it to a whole nother level. And if you were going to somebody's house, Karen, you could bring this if you're going for the holidays.
Yeah.
And you could do dried cranberries in here. Dried cherries are good. Let's do a little more apple too. You know, another popular dish that everybody's talking about too, if you didn't want to roast the root vegetables, how about some Brussels sprouts in the oven, and take the stems out and shave a bunch of Brussels sprouts. Put those on a sheet pan, same way with olive oil. And it's a great way for the fall season to use local and seasonal vegetables as well. So I think that's probably going to be enough in there. We're going to mix that in. You could certainly do this the night before as well. And the orange zest is going to give it just a nice background flavor as well. So we're going to put the lid on that. And we're all done with that. And when we come back, we're going to finish up with a dessert. You're going to really want to try this. It's easy, it's fun, and it's delicious. So we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. I have another side dish I wanted to share with you. I mean, what would Thanksgiving be without some beautiful fluffy potatoes. But again, let's dress this up and make it look special, even if it's just the two of you, or if you wanted to bring something, you can also always dress up some potatoes. And this is some beautiful smoked paprika. Get yourself some. See, it comes in a can like so. And it has a wonderful, it smells almost like a spicy bacon. And this is a great addition to any rub or marinade that you're using, especially pork or sausage. It's a little spicy, so be careful, but it's you can tell it's a little bumped up version with the smoke in it, but it'll add a lot of depth to your potatoes, almost as if you were adding bacon to your potatoes. And I'm adding just a handful of chives for color over the top. And of course I've seasoned my potatoes with salt, a lot of black pepper. And I would only do this at the very end. Add a lot of butter, some cream. I like using the russet potatoes. The Idahos are great. They're more of a baking potato, but they seem to hold up very well to these flavors too. So we're going to set that aside. And that's nice and warm. You can, again, do that the night before and just warm them up and add your garnishes. I'm taking our beautiful cranberry salad and I'm going to just plate this up because it makes it look extra special in a little dish along the side. And these, you notice I've made quite a healthy amount of everything because we want to have leftovers, but you're not going to have a week's worth of leftovers with these recipes. But just the same, they make great sandwiches for the next day. And you're going to have plenty with these recipes. So there's our beautiful cranberry salad or cranberry relish with apples. So we're going to put that aside. And we're going to do our dessert. Karen, I bet you...
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering what you were doing with those ginger snap cookies.
Oh, do you like ginger snaps?
I do.
Okay, what we're doing here is I'm making a pumpkin dip. And I've added a little bit of milk, probably a whole cup of milk, and added some instant vanilla pudding, just some regular instant vanilla pudding. And I'm adding a little bit more pumpkin, just canned pumpkin to this. And I measured out a 1/4 cup and I've used everything but a little bit, and I want a little more pumpkin color and flavor in this. And what we're doing with this is we're making a dip, Karen.
Oh,
yep,
good
and
idea.
yeah, and it's, you say you don't want to make a whole pie, but you still want that flavor. Mm-hmm. This is a great cinnamon plus. This has ginger, nutmeg, and orange peel. And don't forget, if you want the recipes or the resources for all these tools and spices, send me an email and I'll be happy to send them to you. But this is something I use in place of any apple pie or pumpkin pie spice, but certainly you could use apple pie spice or pumpkin pie spice in here too. Sometimes I add candied ginger as well, and it adds a nice flavor. So I'm going to take and put this in here. Oh, we had another question. Karen, what do you think, hon? Were you thinking of what to do for different dippers?
I do like that. Like, what else could you do with that? You could make a little sandwich with them.
Yeah, and they have a lot of ginger in them. And the ginger snaps, obviously, because of the ginger name. But that's why I didn't add any ginger to this. But you could use like a sugar cookie. You could use an apple cookie.
Oh, yes.
What other cookie would you see with this? A pumpkin flavored cookie, molasses cookie would be good.
Molasses cookies.
Yeah, anything that would go with a ginger based or
that would
pumpkin.
be good.
Yeah, and even, how about an apple?
Even a sugar cookie or...
Yep, an apple.
Sure.
You could use apples.
Yep.
What do you think about pears?
I wouldn't have thought of that. but I do like the idea of the apples.
Yeah.
Pears, yeah, probably would be good.
Yeah, and you know what would be pretty? You could put this right on like a fruit board with some grapes, sliced apples.
Oh, yeah.
All we have here is the cookie, but you could certainly put a layer of cookies and make a beautiful, like a tray,
Yeah.
a dessert tray, and even include a cheese, like a brie cheese with that, and make
Oh,
a
wow.
whole dessert board
I
out of
know.
that.
I know, now you get me giving me some ideas.
Yeah, pepitas would be good on top of this, and roasted pumpkin seeds. But what I've done is I've taken some of these ginger snaps, cookies, and crushed them up into little fine pieces. And we're going to sprinkle that over the top and serve that alongside of our ginger cookies, our ginger snap cookies. And that is, you could certainly do that the night before too and let it set up. I didn't use a whole packet of the instant pudding, but I only used a quarter cup, probably used half a packet of the vanilla instant pudding. Make sure it's instant. And barely a quarter cup of the pumpkin, the canned pumpkin, and maybe half a teaspoon of your seasoning, the cinnamon mix. And as many cookies as you want. And feel free to vary this too. So we have our turkey that's just about done, and our roasted vegetables coming out, our potatoes, a gravy. This is a great downsized feast. You could do this, right, Karen?
I sure could.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a long time, and it's very practical for the way things are going this holiday season. Treat yourself well. You deserve it, and you'll enjoy these recipes. So we're going to put all of this downsized feast together, and we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to our downsized holiday feast. For Thanksgiving, you can even do this for Christmas. And just to recap what we did, we have here our turkey breast that we split and made a canoe style with some store-bought dressing. And I used the turkey flavored dressing, and we marinated the turkey in some soy sauce and a little bit of cloves, lemon juice, olive oil, garlic, and fresh basil. That's quite an unusual combination, but your turkey breast really needs it because there's no skin and there's no bone in it, and you want to keep it really moist and tender. We bake that at about 375 for about 30-35 minutes until it's done, so check on it regularly. And we have here a canned gravy that we bumped up a notch with some onion powder and celery salt. Big difference. And it tastes homemade, which is the key to entertaining or making something good. These make great leftovers for a nice turkey sandwich too. You won't have too many leftovers, but just enough. We have mashed potatoes made in the traditional way, but we bumped them up, made them special with some smoked paprika and some fresh chives. Those are great, and you could do a lot of this ahead of time as well. Look at our roasted vegetables, our root vegetables, parsnips and carrots with some red onion, tossed with a little bit of salt and pepper, olive oil, and maple syrup to just give them a touch of sweetness. Our, again, canned whole berry cranberry sauce, but we enhance that with some orange zest and some cubed Rome apples, and just chunk them up. That makes a great crunch in side dish as well. And for dessert, you can do your store-bought ginger snap cookies with a kind of a pumpkin dip with instant pudding, about a cup of milk, and we used about a quarter cup of pumpkin, and whatever apple pie or pumpkin pie spice or cinnamon, and a combination of other flavors too. And remember, you can email me if you'd like the exact recipes, or if you'd like the resources for these tools as well. And I want to thank you all for watching, sending in your questions, especially Lynn from Bolton. You inspired me to do a downsized Thanksgiving feast, and you can do this any time of the year. It's a great comfort meal as well. Thanks to Karen for all your questions.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we're going to eat good tonight. And I hope you try these recipes too. Thank you again for watching, and may the fork be with you.